As I sit here surrounded by the memories of a lifetime, I'm reminded of the woman who shaped my childhood, my grandmother Aurora. To me, she was an open book. Her blue eyes sparkled like a summer sky, and her hugs could heal any pain. I thought I knew her, or so I believed. But life has a way of surprising us, and mine was about to take a dramatic turn. After her passing, I found myself going through her belongings, searching for anything that might bring me closer to her. It was as if I was trying to hold on to her to keep her memory alive. And then I stumbled upon an old wooden box, tucked away in a corner of her attic. The box itself was unassuming, but as I opened it, my fingers brushed against something unexpected. A worn leather diary, its pages yellowed with age. I must have stared at it for what felt like hours, my heart racing with anticipation. Who would have thought that this unassuming book held the key to unraveling the mysteries of Aurora's life? As I carefully opened the diary, a shiver ran down my spine. The pages revealed a story that was both familiar and yet utterly foreign. It was as if I was meeting my grandmother for the first time, and I was shocked to realize that I had only scratched the surface of her life. The more I read, the more I realized that Aurora's life was a tapestry woven with threads of love, sacrifice, and secrets. Her story spoke of a forbidden love, of choices made and not made, of treasures lost and found across generations. It was a story that would change everything I thought I knew about my family, about myself. As I invite you to join me on this journey, I warn you, the revelations that follow will be both heartbreaking and uplifting. You'll meet a woman who defied conventions, who loved with abandon, and who left behind a legacy that would take generations to unravel. Her story is a testament to the enduring power of love, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope. So let us begin this journey together. As we unravel the secrets of Grandma Aurora's hidden diary, let us embark on a path that will take us through the triumphs and tribulations of an extraordinary life, one that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about family, love, and the power of the human spirit. In the late 1930s, nestled in the heart of America, lay the small rural town of Willow Creek, a place where time seemed to stand still, where the air was sweet with the scent of blooming wildflowers, and the sky stretched out in endless blue. It was a community where everyone knew each other's names, where children played freely in the streets, and the sound of laughter carried on the wind. At the edge of town, surrounded by fields of golden wheat and green pastures, stood the farm of Aurora's family, a modest farmhouse with a garden that burst with color and life, where her parents worked tirelessly from dawn till dusk. Her father, a sturdy man with hands that told stories of hard work, and her mother, with a smile as warm as the sun, instilled in their children the value of hard work and the beauty of simplicity. Aurora, a young woman with a heart full of dreams and a mind full of wonder, was the second of 4 children. Her older brother, Thomas, was an aspiring aviator, with a passion that burned bright, fueled by tales of adventure and heroism. Little Lily, on the other hand, saw the world through the eyes of a poet, finding magic in the simplest things. And then there was Aurora, with her love for reading and her imagination that knew no bounds. She was a dreamer, always looking beyond the horizon, yearning for something more, though she couldn't quite put her finger on what that was. The days in Willow Creek were dictated by nature. Mornings began before the sun rose, with the family heading out to the fields. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of dew and fresh earth. School was a simple affair, with one-room buildings and teachers who knew each student's heart. Nights were for stargazing, for sitting on the porch, and for sharing stories of the day's adventures. Despite the simplicity and peace of her life, there was within Aurora a stirring, a sense of restlessness that she couldn't explain. It was as if she felt the world beyond Willow Creek calling, whispering tales of adventure, of love, and of dreams yet to be realized. This quiet yearning, though unarticulated, hinted at a future that would take her far beyond the familiar fields and pastures of her childhood. In this serene setting where love was abundant and life was simple, Aurora's story was just beginning. A story that would weave together threads of love, sacrifice, and the enduring power of hope, set against the backdrop of a world on the brink of change. And as we turn the pages of her life, we find ourselves entwined in a journey that is as beautiful as it is heart-wrenching, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the boundless power of love. As the summer of 1939 waned, the tranquil life in Willow Creek began to fray at the edges. News of European tension seeped into our small town like the autumn chill that still lingered in the mornings. At first it was just whispers, a distant rumble of war drums, faint but growing louder. My father, Thomas, would gather us around the radio, his eyes aglow with excitement, as we listened to broadcasts about the rising threat of Nazism. My parents, however, exchanged worried glances, their faces etched with concern for our safety and livelihood. I, on the other hand, felt a growing sense of unease, as if the peace I had always known was a fragile leaf about to be swept away. I recall writing in my diary by the soft light of our lamplight, pouring out my thoughts and dreams onto the page. But as the weeks passed, my entries became increasingly somber, reflecting the turmoil that churned within me. I began to question the world's justice, wondering how such darkness could encroach upon our serene lives. The world beyond Willow Creek seemed to be unraveling, and I felt powerless to stop it. It was during this time of rising anxiety that I first saw him, a young man in a military uniform, his eyes piercing and enigmatic. Elias, he introduced himself, with a gentle smile that seemed to hold 1,000 secrets. Our meeting was not chance. I sensed it from the start. There was an air of mystery about him, a difference that set him apart from the other local boys. As our eyes met, a spark of curiosity flared to life within me, like the first flicker of a flame. As we began to talk, I found myself drawn to Elias's quiet confidence, his sense of purpose that seemed to anchor him in a world gone adrift. But there was something more, something he didn't share, a hidden depth that I sensed but couldn't quite grasp. Our conversations were like whispers in the night, laced with an undercurrent of danger, of secrets and forbidden love. Little did I know, Elias's arrival marked the beginning of a perilous journey, one that would entwine my fate with the turmoil of war. His presence seemed to carry a warning, a hint of the darkness that loomed beyond our peaceful town. Yet I was drawn to him like a moth to a flame, helpless to resist the allure of the unknown. In those moments I felt the ground beneath me shifting, the tranquility of Willow Creek crumbling like the leaves of a forgotten book. The world was changing, and I was about to be swept up in its vortex, forever bound to the mysterious Elias and the secrets he carried. As the summer of 1939 waned, the air in Willow Creek grew thick with an almost palpable sense of foreboding. It was as if the very trees and homes, once bathed in the warm golden light of peace, now stood vigilant, their quietude a mask for the gathering storm. For Aurora, this transformation was not just a change in the weather, but a shift in her own world, one that had been quietly turned upside down by the arrival of Elias. Their meetings, once furtive and anxious, had grown into cherished moments of solace. The barn, with its scent of hay and earth, became their sanctuary, a place where the world outside receded, and all that remained was the gentle touch of hands, the soft whispers of reassurance, and the deep, soulful gazes that seemed to hold 1,000 unspoken promises. The sunflower field, bathed in the late afternoon's golden glow, was another haven, where they'd walk hand in hand, their footsteps weaving a rhythm that harmonized with the beating of their hearts. In these moments the war seemed a distant rumble, a threat that had not yet pierced the tranquility of their love. But as their bond deepened, so did the shadows. Elias, with a hesitant air, one day revealed to Aurora the truth he had been keeping hidden. He was not merely a lost soldier. He was a German scientist, a deserter from a regime that sought to wield science as a sword. His presence in Willow Creek was not coincidental. He was on a mission to find a powerful encryption device, an artifact of untold power, to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. The artifact, Elias explained, was more than a mere relic. It was a key, one that could unlock not just codes but fates. And it was hidden, according to his mentor, a clockmaker whose genius had spanned lifetimes, in a secret, ancient labyrinth beneath the town's old church. This labyrinth, a maze of stone and shadows, held secrets of its own, whispers of the past that only the bravest dared to confront. As Elias shared his story, Aurora felt the weight of his words settle upon her, like the first drops of a storm that would soon engulf them. She saw the fear in his eyes, the desperation, but also the resolve. And in that moment, something within her shifted. She was no longer just a witness to a story unfolding. She was a participant, a player in a game where the stakes were not just their love, but their lives. The Nazi agents, disguised as civilians, began to appear in Willow Creek, their presence like a slow creeping frost. They asked questions seemingly innocuous, but laced with a menace that was hard to ignore. The townsfolk, once friendly and open, grew tight-lipped, their smiles forced. The air was charged with paranoia, every stranger a potential threat, every glance a possible accusation. Aurora's diary, once a repository of dreams and youthful musings, now became her sole confidant. She wrote of her fears, of the forbidden love that had taken root in her heart, of the growing determination to stand by Elias, no matter the cost. The pages filled with her thoughts, her doubts, and her resolve, as she navigated the perilous path that lay ahead. With Elias, she embarked on a journey into the heart of the labyrinth, the darkness illuminated only by the faint light of a lantern. Cobwebs clung to their faces and ancient symbols etched into the stone seemed to whisper secrets of the past. It was a journey into the unknown, one that would test their love, their courage, and their very will to survive. As they descended into the depths of the earth, the sound of their footsteps echoed off the cold stone, a reminder that they were not alone. The labyrinth, with its twists and turns, seemed to mirror the turmoil within Aurora. She was torn between the love she had found and the safety of her family's home. But with each step, she found a strength she never knew she had, a determination to protect what was hers, no matter the danger. The diary, now a tangible link to her inner world, captured her transformation. From the innocent girl who had once filled its pages with dreams of a simple life, Aurora had grown into a woman, forged in the fire of adversity. Her words, penned in the silence of the night, were a testament to her journey, a chronicle of love, fear, and the unyielding spirit that now drove her. In the face of rising danger, Aurora and Elias's bond became their beacon, a light that guided them through the encroaching darkness. Their love, once a gentle flame, had grown into a fire, one that burned bright with a determination to overcome, to survive, and to find a way, no matter the cost, to be together against all odds. As they navigated the narrow, winding passages of the underground labyrinth, the air grew thick with anticipation. Aurora's heart pounded in her chest, her senses heightened as she followed Elias through the darkness. The clockmaker's final puzzle, a complex mechanism of gears and levers, lay before them. With a deep breath, Elias worked his magic, and the sound of shifting stone echoed through the corridors. A hidden door creaked open, revealing a small chamber filled with an otherworldly glow. In the center of the room, on a pedestal of black stone, lay the artifact, a small, intricately carved box adorned with symbols of protection and secrecy. Aurora's eyes widened as Elias approached the pedestal, his eyes locked on the box. For a moment they forgot the danger that lurked outside, the war that raged above. All that mattered was this moment, this object, and the promise it held. But their reverie was short-lived. The sound of footsteps, heavy and deliberate, echoed through the labyrinth, growing louder with each passing second. Nazi agents, their faces twisted with malice, emerged from the shadows, guns drawn. Elias pushed Aurora behind him, his eyes flashing with determination. The confrontation was chaotic, the labyrinthine passages making it impossible to gain a clear advantage. Aurora used her knowledge of the labyrinth to evade the agents, dodging and weaving through the narrow corridors as Elias fought to protect her. But they were vastly outnumbered, and it soon became clear that their situation was untenable. As the agents closed in, Elias made a desperate decision. With a wounded arm and a look of anguish on his face, he grabbed Aurora's hand, his eyes burning with a fierce love. "You must go," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the din of battle. "Take the artifact. It's our only hope." Aurora hesitated, torn between her love for Elias and her duty to protect the artifact. But Elias's expression brooked no argument. With a final glance he pushed her toward the exit, and Aurora fled into the darkness, the artifact clutched tightly in her hand. The sound of gunfire and screams faded into the distance as Aurora ran, her heart heavy with grief. She stumbled through the labyrinth, her eyes streaming with tears. Elias was gone, sacrificed for the sake of their mission. The weight of his loss crushed her, yet amidst the pain, a spark of determination flared to life. Aurora emerged into the cool night air, the artifact clutched to her chest. She looked up at the stars, a sense of resolve hardening within her. She would carry Elias's legacy forward, using the artifact to bring hope to a world torn apart by war. The diary, once a simple relic of her grandmother's past, had become a testament to the power of love and sacrifice. As she walked away from the labyrinth, the darkness seemed less oppressive, the stars twinkling like diamonds in the sky. Aurora knew that she would carry Elias's memory with her always, and that their love would endure, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. The artifact, now a symbol of their bond, seemed to glow with an inner light, illuminating the path ahead. Aurora took a deep breath, steeling herself for the journey to come, her heart filled with a sense of purpose and her spirit renewed. As I emerged from the labyrinth, the darkness seemed to swallow me whole. The rain-soaked night air clung to my skin like a damp shroud, chilling me to the bone. I stumbled forward, my legs trembling beneath me, as if they too felt the weight of my grief. The artifact, now a tangible connection to Elias, seemed to pulse with a life of its own in my hands. I couldn't shake the image of his eyes, locked on mine as he urged me to flee, to live. The walk home was a blur, my senses dulled by the shock of his sacrifice. I remember the faint scent of wet earth and leaves, the sound of raindrops hitting the pavement, but it's all hazy, as if I'm recalling a dream. I pushed open the creaky door, and the warm glow of the lamp in the hallway enveloped me, a stark contrast to the cold, dark world outside. My family, oblivious to the turmoil brewing inside me, welcomed me with concerned smiles and open arms. They asked about my night, and I forced a weak smile, fabricating a story of getting lost in the woods. The words felt like ash in my mouth, bitter and hollow. I couldn't bear to share the truth, not yet, perhaps not ever. As I retreated to my room, the diary became my sole confidant, a tangible reminder of Elias's presence. I poured my heart onto its pages, the words flowing like tears. The pain was a living thing, a creature that clawed at my insides, making it hard to breathe. I wrote of Elias, of his sacrifice, of the weight of the artifact and the promise I'd made. The days passed, a blur of family meals and hushed conversations. My parents and siblings noticed my withdrawal, my distant gaze, but they couldn't fathom the depth of my sorrow. I struggled to maintain a facade of normalcy, to pretend that I was still the same girl who'd left Willow Creek just hours before. The artifact, now hidden away, seemed to whisper to me in the silence, reminding me of Elias's words, of his mission. In the local library, surrounded by dusty tomes and flickering candles, I began my solitary research. The words of Elias's notes, scribbled in the diary, became my guide, leading me down a path of discovery. I pored over books on cryptography, ancient symbols, and hidden histories, driven by a nascent resolve to honor Elias's memory and fulfill his mission. The artifact, once a symbol of loss, was slowly becoming a beacon of purpose, illuminating a path forward, out of the darkness and into the unknown. As Aurora left Willow Creek behind, the familiar comforts of her childhood home gave way to the anonymity of a larger city. She settled into a modest apartment, its walls a canvas for the memories she was determined to honor. The city, with its cacophony of sounds and faces, was both a refuge and a challenge. Aurora found solace in its busy streets, yet she knew she had to remain vigilant, for the Nazis were still searching for the artifact, and she was now its sole guardian. Her days blurred into a relentless pursuit of knowledge. Libraries and archives became her sanctuaries, where she pored over dusty tomes and yellowed documents, seeking to understand the artifact's true power. Elias's diary was her constant companion, guiding her through the labyrinth of cryptic symbols and coded messages. She consulted experts discreetly, her questions always laced with a hint of caution, as she sought to unravel the mysteries of the artifact. It was in these quiet moments of study that Aurora began to grasp the artifact's potential. It was more than a simple encryption device. It was a key to deciphering enemy codes, predicting strategic movements, and turning the tide of the war. The realization ignited a fire within her, fueling her determination to master its power. As she immersed herself in her mission, Aurora's transformation became evident. Her observations grew sharper, her discretion more refined. She developed an instinct for counterintelligence, learning to navigate the shadows with ease. The diary became her textbook, Elias her silent mentor. She practiced decoding messages, her fingers flying across the page, as she translated cryptic symbols into actionable intelligence. In a crowded train station, Aurora blended into the throng, her eyes scanning the faces for any sign of surveillance. She spotted a man lingering by the ticket counter, his gaze darting between the crowds and the exits. Aurora's instincts kicked in. She melted into the crowd, her heart beating in rhythm with the train's wheels on the tracks. She knew she had to be constantly aware, to anticipate and evade. For in this world of secrets and lies, one misstep could be fatal. The solitude of her journey took its toll, the weight of her secret life pressing down upon her. Yet with every step, every decision, Aurora felt Elias's presence, his memory urging her forward. She was no longer just a young woman from Willow Creek. She was a guardian of hope, a keeper of secrets and a force against the darkness. In the silence of her apartment, surrounded by the trappings of her research, Aurora's resolve hardened. She was a whisper in the wind, a shadow in the night, but she was determined to make a difference. The artifact, with its power to change the course of the war, was her burden and her blessing. And as she looked out into the city's twinkling lights, Aurora knew she would carry Elias's legacy forward, no matter the cost. As the war finally drew to a close, Aurora felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over her. The artifact, once a burden, had become a powerful tool in the hands of the Allies. Her role in transmitting crucial intelligence had frustrated enemy plans and contributed to several strategic victories. She remembered the countless nights spent in secret offices, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she encoded vital information, her heart pounding with every click. The quiet satisfaction of having fulfilled her mission now gave way to a sense of peace. Aurora decided to return to Willow Creek, the small town where her journey had begun. She sought a new beginning, one where she could leave the past behind and focus on building a better future. The rolling hills and green pastures of her childhood welcomed her back, and she felt a sense of closure as she walked through the familiar streets. Aurora dedicated herself to community building, using her experiences to help others. She worked with local organizations to support war-affected families, sharing her knowledge of cryptography and coding to help them rebuild their lives. Her past was a part of her, but it no longer defined her present struggles. Instead, it had become a source of strength, a reminder of the power of love and sacrifice. The artifact, once a symbol of war and secrecy, was now a cherished reminder of Elias and their shared journey. Aurora carefully stored it in a beautiful music box, adorned with intricate patterns and a soft golden glow. As the lid closed, the sweet melody of a lullaby filled the air, signifying peace and remembrance. Years passed and Aurora grew into the wise, loving grandmother the narrator knew. Her eyes sparkled with wisdom, and her smile radiated serenity. She had lived a life of purpose, one that had been shaped by her experiences and the lessons she had learned. The narrator, looking back, understood that Aurora's seemingly simple life had been built upon extraordinary experiences and profound sacrifices. As the narrator sat with her, listening to stories of her past, they realized that the diary had revealed the depth of her character. Aurora's eyes would light up as she spoke of Elias, of the war, and of the artifact. Her voice would fill with emotion, but her words were always laced with a sense of hope and resilience. The narrator felt grateful to have known her, to have been a part of her life. In those quiet moments, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the love of her family, Aurora's legacy came alive. The narrator knew that they would carry her story forward, sharing it with future generations as a testament to the enduring power of love and sacrifice. As they looked into her eyes, they saw a deep wisdom, a sense of peace that only comes from living a life of purpose and meaning. Grandma Aurora's hidden diary had revealed its secrets, but her story would continue to inspire and guide them for years to come. As I sit here, surrounded by the memories of a lifetime, I find myself reflecting on the diary my grandmother Aurora left behind. It's more than just a historical record. It's a map to her soul, a window into the experiences that shaped her into the woman I knew. Reading her words, I feel like I'm uncovering a part of myself, a part that was hidden in plain sight. I remember the stories she used to tell me as a child, tales of fairies and heroes, of magic and bravery. I thought they were just fantasies, meant to entertain and inspire. But now I realize they were metaphors for her own life. A heroic journey that she lived with courage and conviction. The fairies were the people she helped. The heroes were the ones she loved and lost. And the magic? That was the love and strength she found within herself to carry on, even in the darkest of times. Aurora's legacy isn't just the artifact or her secrets. It's the silent strength she embodied, the wisdom she shared through her stories, and the unconditional love she showed to everyone around her. Her life was a tapestry of complexity and beauty, woven with threads of joy and sorrow, triumph and defeat. And as I look back on my own life, I see the parallels between her struggles and triumphs and my own. I realize now that Aurora's experiences continue to inspire and guide me, even when I didn't know it. Her story has given me a deeper understanding of life and courage, and I find peace in knowing that I'm not alone in this journey. The diary has become a personal treasure, a guide that reminds me of the power of love and sacrifice. As I close this chapter of my journey, I'm reminded of the universal message that Aurora's story conveys, that we all have hidden stories to discover and share. It's a message that resonates deeply within me, and I hope it does with you as well. Let's take a page from Aurora's book and share our own stories, with all their complexities and beauty. For in doing so, we can create a world that's richer, more compassionate, and more inspiring. A world that's worthy of the love and sacrifice that Aurora embodied. As we close the chapter on Grandma Aurora's remarkable story, I'm reminded of the profound impact one person can have on the lives of those around them. Her journey, woven from threads of love, sacrifice, and resilience, stands as a testament to the human spirit's capacity for courage and transformation. Through her eyes, we witness the turmoil of history and the quiet strength of a woman who refused to be defined by the challenges she faced. If Aurora's story has resonated with you, then its purpose has been fulfilled. This tale continues not just as a recollection of the past, but as a living, breathing part of our collective present. It lives on through the experiences we cherish, the wisdom we impart, and the legacies we build. As we reflect on the power of love and sacrifice, I invite you to engage with this community by sharing your thoughts and stories. Please, leave a like if you're inspired by Aurora's journey. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that uplift and inspire. Share this video with someone who might find solace or strength in Grandma Aurora's tale. And in the comments below, tell us, what secret do you think Grandma Aurora held dearest to her heart? Your reflections will help keep her spirit alive and inspire others to share their own stories of love, resilience, and transformation.